Okay, we are gonna go over the 5 Latin dance mistakes to avoid. I'm Beth, this is my dance partner Ryan. We're Zienna Studio, let's get started. Okay, starting off with the first common mistake that beginners make in Latin dancing is toes and feet turned in. Often this is due to a tightness in the hips, so make sure you're stretching. And remember, we don't want a complete ballet turnout, but we do not want them turned in either. We want a natural turnout, simply like this. Okay, so if we're in a position, we turn out, we don't have to overturn or anything like that. But remember, we don't want any pigeon-toed feet, nothing going in. We have a slight turnout, a natural turnout, and not a ballet turnout. So that is mistake number 1. Okay, common mistake number 2 is shifting our weight and doing the action at the same time. So if I was to do the mistake, it would look something like this. Okay, so we have to remember, we shift our weight from foot to foot, shift, and then we do the action, and then we shift, and then do the action, shift, and then do the action. Remembering that the shifting of the weight foot to foot is incredibly important. So it's a good exercise first to just practice shifting the weight foot to foot without even thinking about the action. So we shift side to side and then we go shift, action, shift, action, shift, action. Remembering that the action will happen on the and count. So we shift and shift and shift and. Very good. So I don't want to see you doing it at the same time. Okay, mistake number 3. This one's an easy one to tell you, but honestly, it's harder to break this habit. And this is looking down at your feet. So often when beginners are learning to dance, they're trying to remember the steps, whatever it is, Latin, ballroom, or even other styles. We're focusing on our feet to try and help us, but it is the biggest mistake you can make. It is very important to keep your gaze up, whether that's forward, whether that's in the mirror, whether that's at your partner, remembering to stop looking at your feet.
It's also a false solution to your problem because honestly what's going to happen is as soon as you're looking down, your partner's feet are there too. So you're going to get confused way faster. You're better off just trusting yourself in the fact that you know what you're doing. Even if you don't, it's totally fine. Look up, look at your partner, or if you're doing smooth, look to the direction you're supposed to look at. It's so much easier and better. Trust us. Mistake number 4. Frame. Now, this mistake is super noticeable, and when we do notice it, it's getting us a little bit, kind of stabbing us in the heart because it's such an easy fix. You just have to make sure that those elbows are up. And now followers, you guys, you guys, not an excuse to hang on your partners. No, we don't do that. I see this all the time. Yeah, it's like, listen, you know, us guys, we're not gonna admit that we're struggling, okay? But it's a struggle to hold our own arms. Honestly, we don't need that unnecessary weight of someone that's dying out here, can't hold themselves up and like depending on us. So now it's just my weight and her weight and I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. No. We're not doing that. Followers, no excuse. You hold yourself. Leaders, you hold yourself. Okay, that's it. End of discussion.
Independent.
Everyone's independent out here, okay? We're not dependent on nobody, all right? So please, keep those elbows up.
Yeah.
Super important.
Very.
However, elbows, not shoulders, okay? When I say elbows up, that does not include your shoulders, okay? We're not dancing like this either, okay? Shoulders down, elbows up, and you are set. And last but not least, it's our posture. Okay, now this is also a huge issue. So, you know, people say, well, you said about looking down. Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not. The reason why is you could definitely be looking up, but you could be looking up like this. And all of a sudden you're dancing like this. And what's going on here? No, we're not doing that, guys. All right? I see shoulders concave in. Here we are, and now we're dancing whatever we're dancing, and this is what's happening.
Ribs out.
Ribs out. You guys, you know, you guys do the darnest things sometimes, really. The best thing to do is to keep the shoulders, right? These little pockets that we have here. You open those up, opens up the chest, and making sure our ribs are closed. And chin back and up. And all of a sudden, everything is lined up. We're good. Now, this is not an easy task, I admit it. However, when you do it, you feel an extreme change. One thing I have to note that this is something that a lot of people don't realize, but when you start fixing up your posture, you start losing a little bit of your balance. And the reason is you started to dance like this. You got used to dancing like this. This is where your balance is at. And all of a sudden you're changing all of this and now you're like, oh wow, I'm standing up straight and now my balance is a little bit shaky. Well, now you have more things to practice because you were building up bad habits with your bad posture, just to keep in mind.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of this dance lesson. So make sure you fix those 5 mistakes we don't want to see in Latin dancing. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.